So, in addition of the nodes included in the standard Koala Behavior Trees Library, you can also use for free two additional nodes which are called the iTween nodes. And these nodes are not included in the standard library because they depend on a plugin which is called iTween. iTween, you can check the link in the description, and you can download it, and you would simply make a folder called plugins, and there you would include this iTween plugin. And what it does is that it manages tweening between movements, and I'll let you know what that means exactly in a few moments. But if you decide to use them, you include the library and then download for free these two new nodes, which are the standard iTween node and the differential one, similar to the ones we used when discussing actions. And these nodes allow you to create simple actions that you may edit visually in your editor. And as you've included the library in your project, you can also use the iTween properties in your action scripts. But sometimes you just want to prototype an idea and quickly test what it does inside your editor. So I've prepared this iTween example tree, which is the one you see here, and it consists of a priority sequencer and an iTween differential node. And the priority sequencer first asks if the keyboard space is pressed, and if it's not, then it will run this node called Patrol A, which is an iTween node. And the iTween actions or nodes have a lot of options, and these options depend on the event type you choose. So first, of course, you can give them a name. You can set the number of seconds you want it to delay before it starts, and then you can choose the event type. So the list is quite big, and basically you can move, rotate, or scale your game object using different methods. But you can also change things about the audio, about the camera, about the color of the game object, and some uh, special movements such as punching a position or shaking a position or a rotation, etc. Uh, you can check what each does in the documentation of iTween, and the link is down there. But let me show you basically how it works. So I chose an event type of move to, and now I'm going to give it the position where I want it to move to. So I'll choose the position 050, so it will move upwards just 5 units. And then I specify that the time it should take it should be 4 seconds. And I chose an is type of linear. In a second, I will be discussing a bit more this is type option, but for now let me show you what it does in the game. So when I run it, it will take a few seconds, and you can see that it simply moved to the position that I had specified. And this is nice, so I can make a move action or a rotate action or a scale action without ever touching code. It's also interesting that I could specify the position where I want it to move, not by writing vector 3, but by assigning a transform. So for example, I could assign the player, and if I now run the game, each time the iTween coroutine is run, it will pick the position of the player and it will move to that place. This is nice, but you should be aware that any game object in your scene that you assign as a parameter of a node in your tree will not be serialized. By this I mean that if I save my scene and close Unity and open it again, this field will appear as empty and I would have to manually assign it again. Or you could also write a script that has priority over this one and that makes the connections. But this is maybe not the best way to work when you're working on a big project. So this option is good for prototyping and for throwing ideas around, but in general you should use the vector trees, and these ones will be properly serialized. Now you can see that if I choose, oh no, I want to go to this place, and then I change and say, no, better a transform, and then I come back, it erased the previous option. But if I now save my scene and close Unity and open it again, this information will be stored. Now, additionally to moving to a specific position, I can also specify a path. So for example, I could choose a path of 4 points, and I will set it up very quickly, like so. And now I can run the game, and the same node will now move the white cube along the 4 points. And you can see that it's not moving in a straight line to each point. It's actually interpolating between the points. That's what tweening means in the iTween library. The way it interpolates between the different positions it creates. And you can change the way it does the interpolation. So for now, it was set up to linear, but I could use, for example, another one, and what you will see is that now the speed will not be constant. The speed will also interpolate in different ways. So let me uh, let it run again. So it starts very slow, then it picks up speed, and then it slows again, right? So when using these iTween nodes, which are actually launching coroutines in the back, it's different to set up one node with 4 points on a path than setting 4 nodes, each one with 1 point, because each node interpolates only with the points defined inside of it. So if I wanted to move in very straight lines, I would set up 4 different iTween nodes. And you can see that there's also in my behavior tree this change color diff. And this is an iTween differential node or differential action. And in particular, in this one, I chose the event type, which are different from the standard iTween nodes. I chose color update. And this means that if I press the space key, then this node will tick, and it will change the color of my cube to something that looks more like red. And if I press for 3 seconds, then it will become fully red. But it will only work as long as I have the space key pressed. Let me show you this. So if I press a little bit, it changes a little bit, but then it stops. So it's not a coroutine, it's actually a method that each time it ticks, it performs a bit of the action, a differential movement of this action. And now if I leave it pressed, then you can see that it's changing until it gets to red, and then I release and it starts the previous priority sequencer. Okay, so there are many options you can do with these iTween nodes, and they allow you to define quickly some actions that you can play around and tween between them and do all sorts of stuff. But still there are many scenarios, such as following the player, where it's a better practice to use the standard action nodes that we discussed previously. I hope it has been clear. Again, check the documentation for iTween, and if you have any doubts or comments, as always, please leave them in the comment section. Hope you find this useful. Okay, bye!